Hello, good day. I'm Marinel de Leon Diwanek, and today I will be presenting you my research paper titled Communicating Culture, Analyzing the National Costume Performances at Miss Universe Philippines 2024 through Delheim Speaking Model. Clothing is an apparent representation of the history and culture of a civilization. Likewise, costume is a vital aspect as it represents the physicality and physiology of the character. Hence, the national costume emulates the collection of diverse history, religion, tradition, culture, beliefs, and customs, among others, that creates meaningful, symbolic, and cultural conclusions that reflect the community and nation's identity. In the Miss Universe Philippines, each paragon in their national costume competition is expected to display and celebrate their province's culture. The significant relationship of the paragon's national costume and the province's values, practices, rituals, heroes, and symbols that represents the culture is not initially apparent but is visualized and understood through the careful interweaving of words and phrases, the intricate details busted gallantly in the extravagant costumes, and the sophisticated and unique performance used by the paragons. According to many, Ari et al. 2010, Creswell 2014, Mackey and Grass 2005, Yamini and Rahimi 2007, ethnography has frequently been used as a synonym for qualitative research, and it has roots in anthropology that aims to describe culture. Hence, it tends to interpret the processes and products of cultural behavior, kinship patterns, and ways of living. Hence, to contribute to the corpus of knowledge, the objective of this research is to have a wider perspective and a deeper understanding of how language is influenced by the anthropology of the speech spoken on patterns of communicative behavior, as it is one of the cultural systems and functions related to the context of culture. This endeavor relates to the explication of Himes, 1974, Ray and Biswas 2011, and Saputro 2014 that using ethnography of communication and employing Himes speaking model, the patterns and use of language in particular communicative activities and the aspects of culture and the linguistic richness emulated and embedded in the Paragus national costume will be examined, described, and analyzed, thus contributing to the corpus of study in social linguistics. Specifically, this research will answer the question: how do the national costume presentations at Miss Universe Philippines 2024 utilized the elements of Dalheim speaking model, setting and scene, participants, and act sequences, key instrumentalities, norms, and genres to communicate cultural identity? So this figure shows the MUPH national costume performances that function as a communicative act expressing cultural identity. The performances were analyzed through the lens of Delheim speaking model, examining how elements like setting, scene, participants, and act of sequence, key instrumentalities, norms, and genre influence the way cultural messages are conveyed through the costumes, spoken language, and nonverbal cues. By understanding these interactions, the framework aims to illuminate how the pageant presentations serve as a platform for celebrating and communicating cultural identity. As for my methodology, this study employed ethnography of communication to study the cultural identity of the MUPH 2024 NATCOS performances. This study employed purposive sampling method and aided the researcher in choosing the population that is best suited in this study. Hence, the previous MUPH top 3 NATCOS performances winners were chosen because of its cultural diversity and historical and cultural significance. Also, the researcher used the YouTube video presentation of the previous MEPH 2024 NatCast competition uploaded for public viewing. She transcribed the data, specifically the descriptions of the Paragon's national costume performances, which were constructed and delivered by the Paragons during the competition. These national costumes emulated and transpired Philippines culture and MEPH 2024 themed Philippine flora and fauna. The total of three national costume performances will be analyzed and identified using ethnography of communication following Delheim's speaking model. Also, the researcher considered some ethical considerations. The researcher used various ethical considerations concerning her study, and she guaranteed that the data used were factual and authentic. So, for my results and discussion, I used Times Speaking Model analysis. So, after analyzing the data, the researcher I transcribed about some aspects and results found during the process of the analysis. The descriptive of the analysis is concluded based on the analysis of the data by using ethnography of communication by Dalheims. The findings of this research are divided into two parts. Each part consisted of the analysis of ethnography of communication based on the data analysis and the cultural identity communicated through the Miss Universe 2024 performances. Setting and scene, MUPH 2024 NatWest performance is themed Flora and Fauna, hence the costumes presented in the stage event showcased the Philippine culture and artistry. Participants, the designers showcasing their creations, the paragons wearing the costumes, including Miss Iloilo City, Miss Southern California, and Miss Tacloban. The host reading the message behind the costume, and the audience attending the event. Hence, the purpose of the national costume performances is to celebrate and promote Philippine culture and artistry, environmental conservation, and preservation in the province's pride through the medium of fashion in MEPH 2024 platform. Acts of sequence. The introduction and presentation of each paragon wearing the costume is followed by the description of the costume's design and its cultural significance. Key, the overall tone of the presentations is celebratory, educational, and inspiring. Specifically, the tones were neutral and informative, high-pitched and passionate, and descriptive and appreciative. The costumes are designed to evoke a sense of wonder, appreciation, and respect for Philippine culture and nature. Instrumentalities. The costume themselves are the primary means of communication, with each design using specific elements and symbols to convey its message. The presentations incorporated music, creative use of gestures, and other forms of artistic expression to enhance the presentation of national costume. Norms. The descriptions used by the paragons adhere to the norms of promoting Philippine flora and fauna, the province's culture, and local artists and designers. The social norms involve respect, appreciation, and understanding for cultural symbols and traditions, appreciation of artistic expression, and understanding of the cultural context being presented. And lastly, genre. The designs, descriptions, and performances fall under the genre of national costumes, which are traditional attire worn in specific regions or occasions. These national costumes were showcased through modern artistic interpretations on the MEPH 2024 platform. They were used to showcase the unique cultural heritage and artistic traditions of the Philippines. So, the question, what is the culture identity being communicated? First, cultural ingenuity. Delheim's speaking model were able to be utilized by the paragons in their national costume performances. Hence, the cultural identity is communicated. And then, and thus, The first is cultural ingenuity. Cultural ingenuity is believed to constitute a union between progressive and sustainable goal of mankind as community. This can be further developed to form collective cultural meaning that may contribute to the multifaceted and multifarious national culture. Hence, the Duugdo's nature and the cultural identity it embedded to the national costume regarded a cultural impact to the Ilonggo people as a creature symbolizes the cleverness, inventiveness, and creativeness in weaving dreams with meaning and precision toward the goal. Cultural conservation. Cultural conservation aims to valorize cultural and natural heritage assets. It gives powerful means to respect cultural rights while maintaining accountability of the community members in preserving and restoring historical message and cultural heritage. Hence, the performance underscores the need to protect the marine ecosystem to ensure that it is maintained and passed down to future generations. Its nature and symbolisms regarded a cultural impact as the national costume symbolizes preservation and adaptation of the Tubataha Reef and other marine ecosystems in the world for the benefit of nature, livelihood, and cultural conservation. Cultural adaptation. According to Booth and Lazier 2015 and Ellen 2018, cultural adaptation involves modification to certain situations through inadvertent survival and conscious response to perceived danger and hazards. Ms. Tacloban described her national costume as inspiration of resilience and adaptation in the face of difficulties, destruction, and climate change. Thus, the totality of the performance in the costume, its nature and symbolisms regarded a cultural impact as the national costume emulated resilience, pliability, and flexibility in such difficult times for both human and wildlife communities. For my conclusion, the Miss Universe Philippines 2024 national costume performances emulated rich cultural representations and meanings that reflect the diverse and rich heritage, history, tradition, beliefs, and customs of the community. The intricate interplay between the symbolic narratives of cultural expression as a representative and meaning making agents emancipated symbolic narratives in the Paragon's performances. It manifested the cultural framework and identity through the deliberate use of ethnography of communication in Delheim's speaking model. Delheim's speaking model provided an understanding of worthwhile and meaningful cultural aspects of the Paragon's province's flora and fauna. Cultural ingenuity manifested a collective cultural meaning between the progressive and sustainable goal of the community. Meanwhile, cultural conservation valorizes the cultural heritage and assets of the community by showcasing its natural wonders and symbolical creatures. Moreover, cultural adaptation modified survival situations in response to the perceived hazards revealed in the descriptions and performances of the paragons. Hence, the resourcefulness and imagination of the community celebrated the artistry, resilience, and ecosystems of the human and wildlife communities embedded in the intrinsic meanings behind fabrics and poses. Further, the national costume performance revealed a socially constructed identity from which the community is crystallized. The symbolic creatures of Tugto, which is one of the most diverse living organisms, and Halo, which is the largest living lizard, showcased its significance and importance not only to the members of the local but the pageant community. Arguably, the paragons could have chosen another creature to represent, hence proving that this symbolic creature served its purpose of epitomizing the Paragon's province's rich flora and fauna. On the one hand, the natural wonder of Saluda to Taharif was also chosen. Hence, it also shows that the Paragon's desire to promote the diverse marine species and coral formation of one of the UNESCO's World Heritage Sites, unjustifiably choosing a culture to represent to the members of the pageant community and to the viewers must have a careful and critical deliberation artistry, and critical interpretation to successfully present the diversity and multifaceted ecosystem of their environment. Thus, culture is shown through the careful and critical scrutinization of each detail from head to foot and from projection to strut. Hence, cultural identity in the Paragon's national costume performances proved that despite the number of the population analyzed, culture is sundry in multiple formats, and various actions. For my recommendation, based on the foregoing findings and conclusion, the researcher recommends for an in-depth exploration of the Miss Universe Philippines 2024 national costume by having a larger number of populations. The researcher has used limited data, hence it would be profitable for future researchers to focus on series of national costumes represented in the pageant competitions not only nationally but internationally. Further, the researcher recommends that future researchers employ other mode of data gathering like interviews and focus group discussions with the paragons to have a more in-depth analysis of the causes and details behind the national costume's cultural identity. Thank you for thank you for watching everyone and see you again on my next presentations. God bless. Bye.